know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I just tagged you.
So 1,
So
2,
now it's gonna be on your
3.
page.
My son pull up off me.
They can put it off your page. You pull it up.
Check
and you
1,
can, what
2,
happens is you pull it up on your page,
3.
and then you can tag all your friends.
Okay. You see it there?
Check.
Okay.
Check, check.
Okay, bye. I got it. Thank you. All right.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pastel. Pastel.
Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with JT and Low.
Yo, what's happening, people? It is, it's not 8:30ish. It's 9, but it's still time for Classic Conversations with JT and Low.
And as a cop is in or out.
Yeah. We waiting on Ask a Cop. Listen, man, we about to get this thing started. We got to get this thing going quick because, we starting a little late. But before we get started, again, 404-500-1605. Please be a part of the conversation. And while you're being a part of this conversation, while you're watching, while you're thinking about what you got to say, I need you to hit those buttons over there. The love button, the like button, the hug button. You can even get mad at us and hit that mad button. Any of them. Either button that you hit is going to help my
Algorithm.
go up because, again, people, I'm going to let you know, we are on Amazon Music, Spotify, and we are also on YouTube. Been asking you, I'm going to keep asking you. Go hit the button, people. Please, just subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. Not a thing. We're not going to charge you $4.99 later. We're not going to ask you for your credit card information. Hit the button. Then I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. After you subscribe, hit the share button. Send it to somebody else so that they can also hit the button. You heard me? Whew. Boy, until I took a week off, I'm out of breath just from the intro.
Yeah, man, I had to do all that last week.
How's that vacation? I already missed it.
Nah, you ain't miss it. But MJ was on time on the algorithm part, though. Boy, you should have heard him.
Angelo, how was your week, man?
Hey, man, we're going to be real brief today, man. I had a great week. Everything was Gucci. If you saw my page, you know. I had my birthday was in June, of course. People start saying, happy birthday, man. Birthday was in June, man. That means y'all don't know who I am, so I need to erase me off my page. But anyway, I had a late birthday gift because she ordered it a long time ago. Boy, he's consistent, y'all. This is consistent every week.
Yeah.
I tried to get to the part where you could cut it off on like
Right.
Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Every week, man.
We totally understand what you're saying.
And again.
There it goes again.
I did.
Like I said, consistency.
You can't
is key.
shut it off from inside the.
Yeah, you can.
You have to put
It's all about the user. Anyway, JT, Went to go see Shantae Moore and Eric Roberson. And the first time I was seeing Eric Roberson, and he was dope. Y'all right.
I told you.
He can really sing.
I told you.
But I was there to see Shantae Moore. Shantae Moore been my girlfriend for 20 years. You know, I told her this about 20 years. I met her a long time ago at Investigator, and I told her how much, you know, so I got a nice little picture with her. You know, so
Hey, man.
I love me some Shantae Moore.
That
If you didn't know,
girl-
now you know, boy, I love me some Shantae
That
Moore.
girl sings, when she's not even singing.
Oh, my goodness. Shantae Moore is a...
She was humming. I was at the concert, too, just in case you didn't.
Yeah.
But she was humming. And her hums sound better than people going through synthesizers and all types of
Hey, man,
exercises.
this
man.
woman has an
Yeah.
angelic voice.
It looks great.
And when she did that high tone thing for the entire song, come on, man. Shantae Moore is incredible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that made the rest of the week, everything else was good. What about you, brother? Mr. Vacation Man?
Oh, man, the vacation was great. St. Martin, if you've never been, go. Food is great. People are dope. I actually met a real life Winston. My tour guide's name was Wellington, and he's actually quitting his job, I think, in another week, and moving to Wyoming to marry his fiance. He's a real life Winston from Stella Got a Groove.
Are you serious?
Yep, she got her own business and everything, and he's moving out there.
From
bro,
Wyoming. From
that
St.
part.
Martin.
Exactly. I said the only problem. problem
sound
you
right.
have is that you're not moving to L.A. like Winston did.
Yeah.
You're moving to Wyoming.
Wyoming.
But yeah, we met,
How long
I
that
mean,
gonna last?
Yeah,
That
he's
snow hit his
he's
ass.
That gonna be a culture
tour guide
shock.
over there, and he actually met one of the people that he was, taking around and everything, and went to Wyoming, kicked it with her for a while. They got engaged, and he's moving out there.
Wow.
They're gonna be going back and forth though. I said, I know you're gonna have to, bro. 'Cause you're gonna need to thaw out.
Facts.
You're gonna need to thaw out. But yeah, the vacation was great, man. Then, like I said, we got back, went to check out Eric Roberson. The wife is an Eric Roberson super fan. She's actually been to some island and met him, had met the whole family. So she's a super fan. Whenever he comes to town, we have to make that. So
I
went
did
and
notice,
checked that out.
JT, when I looked over there to y'all's seats, that you are usually the one all out the seat dancing and
she don't.
prancing. But when Eric Roberson came up, I saw Casper. And I was like, look at Casper was, she was 1-2ing
Hey, man.
the whole set.
Hey, she loves us some Eric
Yeah, I
Roberson.
said, look at Casper over there.
Yeah, he's the only. When we first met, he was the only performer that could actually get my wife out of a seat, which is dope. Met him, he's a cool cat too. He's a great dude. But remember what I told you about the making a song up as it go?
Yeah, that was dope. Hey, that was incredible.
Hey, what the guy does, man.
That was
he
incredible.
Actually, this time he took a story from a couple
Yeah,
and made a whole song.
a whole
on
song
the spot.
On the spot.
They met on Match.com, so he made the hook about Match. We met on Match.com.
Wow.
Hey, that jump was dope.
But other times that I've been to the show,
It was
he
incredible.
would get things from like 8 different people, and out of everything that, and I've done it twice to make sure that he was for real. I said I'm gonna do it twice, make sure you get it right each time. Each time, man, he got it right.
Hey, that thing with Match.com was so fly though.
Hey.
Match.com get a hold of that. That's the commercial.
Oh yeah, that's his money again.
That was so cool.
And he's independent. He's independent. Got like 15 albums.
Oh, wow.
But he's independent. He don't mess around with the machine. Put it that way. He says he don't like to mess around with the machine. So, if you get a chance, man, go on to YouTube. After you go to YouTube and follow Classic Conversations,
That's
then go
right.
and check out some Eric Roberson. I promise you won't be disappointed. Ask a cop. How was retired life this week, bro? You kill
Oh, it
any
was excellent,
deers,
excellent.
anything?
Everything was good, man. Just chilling.
No snakes, no nothing.
No, nothing. Just chill this week. I hunted some split-tail doe.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Real quick, man, we got some special guests in the house, as you can see. We have Mr. Eric Echols over here. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
I don't want to give too much of yours away, because you got it. I'm still finding out, people. I ain't tell y'all about my cell phone. I have to tell y'all about that another time. And over here, we got Mr. Michael Postel. How you doing, sir? Good. Your story, I think, is going to resonate big time.
Come to the
on,
mic.
sir. I think your story is going to resonate big time coming up, so I don't want to give too much of that away either. But before we go to break, we're going to talk about this thing with Florida A&M. HBCU football team, HBCU school rather, but the football team there's a rapper, and I didn't put his name down.
So we wouldn't know him anyway.
But good point. They did a video.
What I tell you?
Boston who? Boston Richie, who is a supporter of Florida A&M. He's actually performed at their homecomings and stuff like that. But he actually did a video within the Florida A&M locker room. He was wearing the Florida A&M helmets, a helmet. He was wearing a jersey, and he also had on some of the Florida A&M special edition Nike sneakers. So once the video hit out, the coach actually suspended all activities, because there's a whole lot of reasons why. But of course us black people, we came out and said that a lot of us said the coach was too harsh in regards to suspending activities. Now, they do have the activities, it's been reinstated, because they had to do an investigation trying to find out how they got into the locker room and all that type of stuff. But I just want to get everybody's opinion. Do you think he was too harsh in regards to suspending the activities? But before you go there, you gotta understand that there's brandmanship? Branding and brandmanship, or whatever they call it, with Nike. If Nike sees something like that, because of the content of the song, the language, y'all know what it is, rap music. Today's rap music. So y'all know what type of words is in these songs. And from what I hear, he doesn't have a song that could actually be sponsored.
Nothing about football.
Nothing about football. And so because of that, there's a lot that could have been lost. Nike could have pulled things from the school, probably could have sued the school, defamation, all that type of stuff. So he pulled the activities, but there were so many people that actually was online on social media, Instagram, Twitter and everything, saying that the coach was actually too harsh because it was just a music video. I'm looking around the room. I see a lot of gray throughout this room. So everybody on this room is of age.
Right.
So what do y'all think about that?
Personally, I don't think he was too harsh, and the only reason I'm going to say that is because you got to weigh the good versus the bad. So in other words, if they were subject to lose a lot, then he would have had to show that he really wasn't 100% behind it to take a stand against it. In other words, to be lenient on the school. So he jumped out first before the Nikes and everybody else started pulling contracts or endorsements or, start fining people. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with, the college league and all. So, sometimes you have to take a hard stance in the beginning. In other words, to soften the blow in the end. So, just my 2 points.
Understood.
It's accountability, man.
Right.
And that's the problem with our society today is that nobody wants to take accountability of anything, And this coach had to take accountability because he's accountable to the administration and to all the people and parents and the folks that's endorsing the school. And like you said, they could have pulled all kind of things could have went wrong with that. So whether, right, wrong, or indifferent, he had to make a stand.
Yeah.
To show Nike and the board, hey, look, we had nothing to do with this. So it wasn't nowhere near harsh. It was necessary.
Great word. I like that. I like that one. I'm interested to see how did they get access to the locker room without.
Well, you know what it was? It was players.
Yeah.
It was players.
Let them in.
Probably 3 of them grew up with the guy and brought him in there. And I think it's at some point we gotta always quit jumping out in front of things and sit back and just let it marinate and see how it goes. Because a lot of times, we as a people will jump out. Oh no, it's wrong. And then when the dust settles, oh, it's right. Because if you aim high with a penalty, you can always dial it back. But if you aim low, it may not accomplish what you want, what you alluded to with the sponsors. And then you dial it too far back, and then you add to it, it's going to look like, as a coach, you didn't take any action. And then you'd be like, that boy in Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, how they think about him as a coach. So he doesn't want that. I think it was a perfect move on the coach's part.
Yeah.
You got to gauge it right.
Yeah, you gotta gauge it.
Yeah, I think he took the right action by suspending everything. You know, nobody can come into the gym. Nothing can happen over there. You know, getting to the bottom of it and then coming back. I'm sure what they did is got in touch with all the sponsors first.
Right.
Before they said, okay, we're going to let y'all back in here. But, you know, like I said, wearing the jersey wasn't the big deal because you can purchase a jersey anywhere.
Right.
But the helmet and the special edition Nikes, man, you don't. Nike.
And being in the locker room.
Somebody already sold them. They
Nike,
got them on a Tuesday, sold
They
them on a
lose that
Wednesday.
money?
Yeah, you don't want to lose Nike.
They lose that stripe off that uniform? Ooh. You run around
Yeah,
out
that's
there
a
with
lot.
They gonna be back in shirts and shimmels.
out there with look. Well, I was gonna say with that R, like R, Rydell,
Right there.
Not the right deal.
Right there.
Lord have mercy, boy. You went back with that one.
with that big R. That would be the only person to pick him up right
Way
now.
back.
Oh man.
Michael Andre, what's up, bro? Appreciate you tuning in. My man, DJ Chicken Man. Yep, that's right. That's his name. DJ Chicken Man. What's up, bro? Checking us out. Lee Stevens, how you doing, love? Spencer. Debo Lowe. Oh, wow. Debo Lowe, I got to holler at you, man. We need to get you up here on the show to talk about some sports. So listen, man, we're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back. We're going to get into the meat of the evening. Y'all
Oh,
actually
before we're not gonna-
you know the...
Go ahead.
You want to go into the
I
Florida?
thought you were gonna talk about the money kid, the kid with the money. How much time we got? 5 minutes.
The
The kid throwing money at the what's it?
Oh yeah, y'all want to go? Y'all want to go?
Yeah,
that
we got
was-
7
that
minutes. Do it real
was-
quick.
Okay.
That was
What's
some
up,
infected shit.
real quick.
Yeah, real
So
quick.
yeah,
I don't want to miss that.
young. What is it? Young Miami.
That was past.
Am
It
I
was
saying
past.
that name right?
It was a new level of ignorance.
Young Miami. There was a big festival this weekend in Miami called Rolling Loud or Rolling Out Loud. I'm thinking about the magazine. Rolling Loud Festival. It's a big hip hop festival that happens down in Miami this weekend. And Young Miami has a 10-year-old son, and she actually took him to the show. Took him backstage, and what was his name? Trap. What was the dude?
I don't know.
What was the rap? Uzi Vert. Uzi Vert had a set where the strippers was doing their thing and they was tipping. So young man was in the back. Now I've read some things where supposedly he had it set to where the young man couldn't see the stage, but there's footage of the young man backstage throwing money up in there. Now can't say if he was throwing it on a stripper, but he was throwing the money up in the air. So she basically took him to an environment that was gonna push that type of narrative. So with that, do y'all think this makes her a bad parent? Or is this bad parenting?
I just think it's a
How old
reflection
was
of who she is.
The kid is 10.
Apple don't fall far from the tree.
And she's like,
So
I
she's
think she
probably,
might
what,
be
15?
28.
No.
I think she's 28, 30 maybe.
So she's young.
Yeah, she.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays it's different. Like you said, we all got gray. So nowadays, these young moms are treating their kids more like friends as opposed to treating them like children. And that's a problem. So I don't think that she's a bad mom. She just made a bad decision that falls under bad parenting.
I bet she knows
Yeah.
how to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of times the moms, the grandmamas is 25 nowadays.
Come on to the microphone.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Grandmoms is 25
Yeah, she's
nowadays.
29 years old. She's 29.
That was an inside joke, but the
No.
grandmoms,
No,
they're
right.
not-
No,
they're
no.
not even teaching their mothers
right.
of the children now. So the grandchildren really lost because the moms don't know what to tell them and teach them.
right.
So it's not really her problem saying there's a bad parent, but I could say that lack of knowledge, lack of experience, so that she did the best she can do at what she worked with,
Right.
So basic morals don't factor into it.
Morals factor into it in everything we do.
Exactly.
Everything.
Right.
But Mike, it's something that you have to recognize. Morals is not something that you just pick up.
Right. Morals is taught.
it's
You
something
pick it up
that's
in the
taught.
church.
That's
And
what
if it's
I'm saying.
but if you don't go to church and if your parents are not there or if your parents are in the club or whatever, it's not morals that you're gonna have. I didn't think of it the way you said it, but that's a great way. what you hope is that this is a situation that she will actually learn
from it.
Right.
Learning
Right,
experience.
experience is the
Now,
best teacher.
don't, like I said, don't give her a pass, but I still think it should be something that she learns from.
Right.
Instead of
Exactly.
saying that she's just a bad parent overall.
Exactly.
Well, you want to call it out for being what it is. That was bad parenting. Now, if she didn't know any better, it's fine. But if you don't call her out for what she did wrong,
She'll do it
then
again.
we'd all be sitting here and she'd do it next week,
Right.
and the week after, and the week after. And I'm not. What I mean by if you make a bad move in parenting, it's just like she didn't know not to do that. But I guarantee you, when she goes to a restaurant, a fast food joint, she knows not to jump over the rail, reach into the cash register, and pull it out. So, I mean, it's at some point, a common sense factors into it. She lives a lifestyle where that's accepted. So if you want to include your child in that, you got to take all the criticism that comes with it. Because if we don't criticize and put it out there and quit making excuses for them and putting a rope around and charging admission to see it, what ends up happening, other young mothers say, oh, man, she did that, and what are they going to do? Like we do everything in the community, but particularly among the infecteds. They want to outdo the last thing that somebody else did. So the next thing you know, you're going to see because remember they used to have little 2-year-olds smoking joints until they realized they could go to jail for it, or holding a gun, things of that nature.
Microphone.
Yeah.
I did see that.
You know, and I'm glad you said that. The dude was smoking beside him, and it was all those guys was celebrating it.
Right.
And this is the problem. They were celebrating this young
Now,
kid.
that adds a little bit more to the
Yeah,
picture.
there was a whole group of them
Oh, yeah.
celebrating it
Yeah,
with this young
that's
kid. You know what I mean? Like encouraging him to do it. So it was a bad judgment all the way around. Terrible,
Yeah, that's a bad environment.
horrible environment. He should have been in the environment in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But then have him around all those people and the smoking and come on, man.
But there's just one event she couldn't not attend. That's part of being a mom. It's
Good
part
point.
of being a dad.
Honestly, you can't expect him to have any respect for women in the future. It was ghetto, period. And that's a great point.
And let
How
me-
do you teach a kid respect if you're showing them that lack of respect at that early age?
I was saying that a couple shows ago we had a conversation about even us back in the day, that some of the things that we learned, and then now how it's not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that how we were raised, or our brothers taking us places. You remember how we was having that conversation about our brothers taking us to strip, places like that to try to get us to experience that at an early age. And we didn't see the problem in it when it was us, but now that we're older and we've matured, we can now see the problem.
Big difference between 18 and 12.
Well, no. Let me say this. This was what the problem
18
was
and 10.
for me was mothers defending it, like
That
just
part.
saying that it was
Lack of accountability again.
And we were, and even just last week we were talking about Dwight Howard and how he was treating his son, and mothers going in on him about the son, and us as fathers looking at it like, what are y'all
What's the
mad
problem?
about this?
Yeah.
So it's like you said, the double standard. It's the society. We don't hold people accountable. Either way, like we even had compassion and said, hey, well, maybe the mother doesn't want to see him crying like that, but we still knew that it was something we would do. But they saying this and they just writing it off as an excuse, like it's her son. You know what I'm saying? If he wasn't there, then she say he wasn't watching. I'm like, nah, man. Like I
How
wouldn't
about a
say
babysitter?
that.
We gotta go.
Yeah, we're going to go to break, but I see this being a topic of another show because I see it can run into something else.
Yeah.
We're going to go to break, but yeah, we're going to break. We'll be right back.
Of the case was unique because normally, as a cop, normally you have females and little boys, or you'll have men and little girls. This was a female and little girls.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
That-
the
yeah,
whole
that-
dynamics
that's,
of the
that's-
case was just unreal, and one of the alleged victims was her very own daughter. You know, so when you have a case like that, and you're the friends with one of the alleged victim's mother. So there was a closeness there. The little girl of that parent, she was a child star at one time. You know, so it was publicity from start to finish. And I mean, I even got arrested on the case.
Really?
Oh yeah.
wait. You got arrested?
I got arrested on the case. It was a situation where, you know, my job as an investigator, you know, I'm a CFI, a certified forensics interviewer.
Hold on one second. Is there a problem with the sound? You got we
It's
good?
back, it's back.
Okay, we back. Go ahead.
So, you know, I'm a certified forensics interviewer, which means, you know, I interview people for a living, you know, and you probably know that with Wicklander, I'm a legacy. So, you know, when you have cases like this, you try to talk to people to try to get them to find out what actually happened. And one of the persons that I interviewed was the father of one of the alleged victims. I talked to this man for almost 2 hours. And in that conversation, he told me he never thought that his daughter was molested by Ms. Craft. Now, I recorded the entire conversation. So when this man's wife heard that I talked to her husband and he talked back to me for 2 hours, she called the mother, who called her good friend, the DA. And when I went to court on another issue, and the other issue was I was serving this same lady some papers, because I also served papers. She hauled off, slapped me in the face, and called me a black bastard.
Wow.
So when I took her to court for the assault, I got arrested.
For what charge?
And they arrested me for witness tampering.
Is that right?
3 felony counts of witness tampering, which is 1 to 7 for each count. So I was facing 3 to 21 years. And the witness tampering was because I spoke to the father for two hours. That was a charge. Because we talked about his wife in the conversation, they charged me on that. And because I mentioned the daughter in the conversation, they charged me for that. So they charged me for 3 felony counts.
On one conversation?
On one conversation.
Were the charges ultimately dismissed?
Oh, yeah, it was a sham. I mean, so what happened when Tonya was acquitted on all 22 counts, my indictment was still out. They indicted me. The judges, all the judges in the Lookout County Circuit, they all recused themselves. They all said, hey, I don't even want to sit as the judge on this case. So what they did was they shipped the case.
Change venue.
There you go, to Cobb County, to Judge Brantley. I live in Cobb County. He looked at the case and called it technically deficient, and he quashed the indictment. So the case went away on me. And that's where the book come in, because I wrote a book called The Echols Files, Catoosa County Justice. They got their own justice system. So I wrote a book about it, talked about the investigation, what I did, the whole 9 yards, and that's what happened.
Wow.
You know, and that was over, I don't know, 10 years ago, a little 10 years
So who were you actually hired by?
I was hired by the
Defendant?
law. See, I get hired by the law firm,
Okay.
Which law
or
firm?
or I'll get hired by the individual. You know, so it really depends on the case.
On that case, who?
On
were
the
you hired
case,
by?
I got hired by the law firm.
Law firm? Okay.
By the law firm.
Now, let's say if you get hired by an individual, what goes in regards to you taking on a case? What goes into you making a decision to take on the case?
So, first I have to look at the case, you know, because, and I can talk about 2 cases because Mr. Postal was here. It was his case and then Henry Hutchins' case. So both of those individuals hired me directly.
Okay.
You know, they heard about me, they hired me. one, I have to look at it because when you get cases, when people say this is unjust or this didn't happen or the police is wrong, the first thing in my mind, you know, as an ex-police officer, everybody says that, you know. But then I have to actually look at the documents. I want to get all the documents. I want to see everything that you have. I want to go through it myself and make my own decision. And when I start seeing things that doesn't make sense, then that's when I put my feet into it and I say, okay, I'm going to take this case.
So before you go into a little bit more depth of the case, give everybody an idea of your background prior to getting to the investigations.
So my background, I started as a United States Marine. I was a Marine.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Simplified of a dog. There you go. Hey, okay.
Know what that means.
Yeah. See, he don't know.
Oh, I know what it means.
Okay, yeah, always faithful.
But I also know what it means when
So
Do or die.
so that's why I started. You know, I did MP duty in barracks duty, and then I got into loss prevention. And in loss prevention, it was just, you know, catching shoplifters, and then I started investigating dishonest employees. And then from there, I worked my way up the food chain. You know, I was a divisional vice president for Kmart. You know, you remember in Atlanta we had all the Save Right grocery warehouses back. I was over all of them. You know, so you know, I worked in retail for years, and worked my way up. And then something happened in retail; it started changing. So I said, you know what? In 2005, my wife and I, we started our own company. We started a security guard company, and then later we went from security guard and added private detectives. So we've been operating since 2005. And from that point, once I started getting the cases and my name started getting out, then I started getting these high-profile cases. So like we were talking on the break, like the Rayshard Brooks case, the Arbery case, you know, we the Walter Scott, my wife worked on the Walter Scott case. You know, we've done some you know, high-profile cases. And now it's to a point now where, you know, the name is out there, the company name is out there, which is TFP Company. The company name is out there, and we're getting calls. And I don't turn. I shouldn't say this because I don't want a bunch of phone calls from people saying, "Hey, I don't turn nobody down." But I gotta have something to believe that there was something unjust in order for me to take that case. You know, so that was my background.
So when you first heard, and now we're gonna get to this, but I just gotta add, when you first heard the Ahmaud Arbery case, what was your initial thought when you first heard it? Did you immediately see through the BS?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, the Arbery case, just first of all, you know, jogging, looking at houses is not a crime. I don't know anybody who drives through a neighborhood, because back in the day, if a house was being built, you went in that house.
Absolutely.
You looked around, you got ideals, you know, and from that perspective, that's all he was doing. But when you have individuals who want to act like police, and you have, and you know, remember during that whole Arbery time and Brooks time and all of this, you know, Anthony Hill, remember Anthony Hill, the naked veteran?
Right.
That was my case.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From the Cab County?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was my investigation that I gave to Robert James, the DA, and they went off of my investigation and talked to the witnesses that I found to secure the prosecution on the police officer. I gave my case to them. You know, I found witnesses that GBI didn't even find. So when you're doing all of this stuff, I mean, you have to look at the individual, right? And then going back to your question to the Arbery case, these individuals, they were acting in malice. You know, the country was going through something at the time where, you know, black, and I'm just gonna say it, black people had a target on their back. I mean, we still do, but I mean, back then, I mean, they were shooting left and right. They would shoot first, ask questions later. You know, so that Arbery case, and then, you know, following that one, the Rayshard Brooks case, you know, the day they burned down the Wendy's, I was there. Yeah. Attorney called me, said, hey, I need you down here. They just, you know, the Wendy's, we got the, bam, I'm there. You know, so that's
I was
how
down
that
there
happens.
too.
Huh?
I was down there.
You was
too.
down there? Oh yeah, so I was there. And we can talk about that. That's a whole nother story on that police officer. He should have never had a badge from first. But yeah, that's that's what we do.
Okay.
We're the real deal.
Good deal. So, Henry's been talking about you for a while to me, because we talk every night. So, but you also have Mr. Postel here. Kind of give us some background on his case.
So Mr. Postel, he calls me his brother. We say we brothers now. I've been dealing with him for years now since this case happened. And his case was botched from the very beginning. Unions, and I'm going to call them out, Union City Police Department botched his case from the beginning. And when I say from the beginning, first of all, when there is a death investigation, that's what I'm going to call it, a death investigation, you treat it as a death investigation. You let the evidence and you let forensics, you let ballistics, you let all of that tell you that it's either homicide or if it's a suicide. You don't listen to the person who made the phone call. Okay? Now, in his case, not only did they listen to the person who made the phone call, but the people left the scene for over 45 minutes and took the gun. Okay, yeah, I mean, they botched it. And then when they finally came back, the police talked to them in a group. They didn't separate them.
Separate the witnesses, yeah.
They didn't. Yeah, you know this. This is basic one-on-one. They didn't separate them. They put them all in a room together. They texting each other what to write on the statement because I got the body cam footage because through open records. So they botched this case from the very beginning, and so much so that after I did my investigation, me and Mr. Postal, we went and met with Fonnie Willis and her team. And Fonnie Willis herself and her team said, wait a minute, this is not a suicide. We're going to take this case. And then they came back and said, Union City messed this case up so bad, ain't nothing we can do.
Wow.
Now, wait a minute. You're the district attorney. You can't do anything?
It's not that she couldn't do anything. A lot of times, fruits of a poisonous tree are poisonous.
So they need it. There you go.
So if you taint the evidence so bad, it can't be presented to a jury.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So now they're looking for new evidence. But that new evidence is hard to find. It's been, what, 6 years, 7 years?
4 now. But
4?
going
Okay,
on-
so they're going on 5 years.
but going on
And they
5.
still, and they admit it. It's not like, I'm making this up. They admitted that they botched the investigation. They admitted it to us. They admitted it to a confidential source. They admitted it openly and said, hey, we messed this up. We need something. We need to find something. Well, hell, I mean, I'm not a police officer. And it's only so much I can do. It's only so much I can do.
So what were you first told, sir, about your son?
Man, first of all, like he said, it was so, I'm going to say ghetto. It wasn't even an investigation. My wife found out on the internet my son was dead.
Wow.
She came and woke me up on a Sunday night. She said, Mike, get up. This girl on Instagram saying, long live Steno. That was his nickname that they gave him in high school. Long live Steno. I get up out the bed, put on my clothes. My other 2 sons went with me. It's right around the corner, about less than a mile from my house. I get around there and see all kind of lights flashing, tape, yellow tape, the whole 9. I get an eerie feeling in my stomach. You got loved ones. God talk to you, I ain't have to even talk to the police. I just felt it, man. But I ain't want my sons to know, I walk up to the police. I go to break for the house. They stop me. Hold on, sir, you can't go here. So I talked to a female officer. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, is the guy in there, the young man in there, is it a young man? She said, yeah, yes, sir, but I can't tell you anything else. I said, no, this may be my son. Tell me this, is he light-skinned? She said, she looked down at the ground, she looked back up, she said, yes, sir. I knew that was my son, you know? And I'm like, damn, we have to find out over the internet that he's dead. And then, that's not it. I go to the police station. They bring the young men that was in there with my son, after they came back, of course, in the same room. Got me and my sons in there talking to us, questioning us like we killed my son. I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this?
Wait. They brought all of y'all was in the same room together?
No.
Oh, okay.
They had all of them in the same room.
Okay.
Instead of separating them,
Right.
they had them all in the same room and had me and my sons in the same, asking us questions about what happened to Austin when who picked him up, what happened when he left, what was he wearing, questioning us like that. Did you see the gun that the guy had? My sons told him all that. You told him what kind of gun it was and everything. The boy had it in his waistband when he came and picked my son up. That's the gun that killed him. After they killed my son, I say killed my son because they did. He wasn't suicidal. He was in college, working for Land Rover Jaguar, driving those $100,000 cars. I know he didn't kill himself. He had a lot to live for. He was high cycling. Okay, he wasn't depressed. He didn't have any mental disorders. He wasn't on drugs. He didn't even smoke weed. So we know our child. You know your loved ones, So moving forward, they tell me they're going to investigate this, they're going to do this and do that. Nothing was done. They kept telling us things enough to just get by, to sugarcoat us, to tell us well, we're working on this, we're working on that. So as time went on, progressed, another year or so, we had a meeting with the chief of police. She said, well, I had all bad people. They was bad people, so now I got new people now. We're going to put new eyes on it. Got new investigators on it. Lo and behold, another year and a half went past since that
Another
meeting.
year and a half, yeah.
Do you know these new people she got now? They haven't did shit, excuse my
doing nothing.
language. They haven't did nothing. Nothing. And they keep telling me the same lie. Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. I hope Fonnie Willis help me. We got recordings of the chief of police telling us, I hope Fonnie Willis help me. I'm going to press charges on him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They haven't done shit. So my son is dead and gone. They haven't even investigated. We took them evidence of a phone he had. They're supposed to open up his phone and send it to the GBI. They never did that.
Really?
I went and got
Never
the
did.
phone, picked the phone back up myself 3
They
months
let you
after
pick the
meeting.
phone back up?
They gave it
Yeah,
to
they
me.
gave him the phone.
But wait now, I'm not through. This is an open investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This is
what
an
I'm saying. How
open
the hell did you get the
investigation.
phone?
But they gave me the property, gave me the phones back after they supposed to be at the GBI. Okay, now moving right along, it was another phone that was found at home. My grandbaby had it, and he showed it to my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law opened the phone up. It was a threatening text to my son. Said, I know where you live, I know where you work at. Leave my girl alone. That's a threatening text. I know where you live and I know where you work. Your boy Fats can't save you, can't help you. That's what was in the text. I remember it, word for word, verbatim. Your boy Fats can't save you. So Austin knew the same guy that this guy knows. That's new evidence. If you really want to know the truth, they never investigated that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
my
have a
son just
question.
got a bullet in his head, and then nothing was done about it. Union City still telling the same lies from 2019, March the 3rd, till 2023, right now.
Okay, I'm
today.
starting to get a
Let's
picture.
go. Let's go to this break. We're going to ask you
Right.
questions.
Okay.
We go to this break real quick, y'all.
Be right back, y'all.
Oh, yeah. So to paint a picture for the viewers.
Wait. Hey, man. You know, we have some great conversations usually in between that get real rowdy, but this was, I'm blown away. I'm Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm
just
blown away, man.
just looking at it, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I know you're a paying father, and you're obviously an investigator, looked into it. And for what I'm hearing, if it happened the way you said it happened, there was inconsistencies in just the way the police responded to it. If they got a call of a suicide, a police officer cannot rule anything. That has to be done by the county coroner.
Right.
And they should have called a county coroner to the scene before they released anybody, because until the coroner releases the scene, you have to treat it like it's a homicide.
Right.
And they didn't do that, which allowed for evidence to leave the scene, possible perpetrators to leave the scene, witnesses to leave the scene. What they should have sequestered the witnesses in patrol cars, separated them if they're standing outside, not allowed them to talk, and transporting them. Should have contacted their investigators and had the investigators right away transport different ones to get their statements. So it's not going to be contrived or diluted. They didn't do that. So there's a lot of things. Well, I'm going by what you're saying. I can't trip here and just, but if what you're saying is true, they messed up initially on it. Now, after, I guess the coroner later ruled that it was a homicide?
No.
The coroner never ruled it a homicide?
No, it was ruled a suicide.
They tried to get him, the coroner, to keep saying it was a suicide. They tried to get him to lean that way. Said, no, I just can't do that. Right now it's undetermined.
It's undetermined.
And then, okay, so he still hasn't decided what it is.
Right.
So they wouldn't
Because
go there.
there's not enough, like you said, the evidence was so messed up that no one can really justify, because they had closed it as a suicide, and I got involved, and they reopened it. Then they now it's undetermined, but there's no movement. There's no movement whatsoever. So now it's, well, we know we botched it. We know we messed up. We're looking for new evidence, but how long are you gonna look for new evidence? I mean, and here's the thing. The person who owned the gun, it was a stolen gun.
So which
they brought the gun back to the scene?
They brought the gun back.
was there any charges?
After they took it.
Were charges put on individuals?
Yeah, they
That's what
charged
they
him. But following the case, we haven't seen anything in the court. We hadn't seen anything on him or anything like that on the gun charge.
So how did those guys come back? I mean, I'm trying to understand. These guys,
They left.
they left the scene.
Right.
So what brought them back? How they?
One of them went to home, and
Gotcha.
he went home, and then the mother said, we need to go back. But this was 40.
What mother said that?
One of the persons who was there, the one who owned the gun, the mother said, we need to go back.
So she wasn't there, but they told her what happened. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Okay.
These are not like kids. This guy was carrying a gun.
Right.
They didn't call 911.
Who were their ages?
Like
21.
Those were
21,
adults.
18,
19.
17. Yeah, I mean,
So everybody was an adult.
My son was 20 at the time.
yeah.
So when they came to the scene, did they do paraffin test on your son's body?
They did it on my son,
Did they do it on anybody else?
Nothing.
but then
And then later they did GS gunshot residue. But then what happened when he said, well, we all touched the gun, gunshot residue transfers. So they came in, well, we all touched the gun. So to me, that's your alibi saying, well, we're all gonna have residue on our hands.
right.
But who touches a gun after someone shoots themselves?
What?
And here's the other thing.
What?
We all hanging out. We having fun, right? Their story was the gun was laying on the table. He picks up the gun, puts the clip in, and pulls the trigger in his left hand, his right hand. And the downward angle in the back of his head. First of all, even if, let's say remotely that's true, first thing you're going to do is what? Call 911. They leave the scene and take the gun. They didn't call 911.
Nobody.
They didn't check, hey, you all right, Austin? They didn't do any of that.
So how many people were there? Was it just them?
No, it was like
Three.
Three of them.
But we found out it was more.
It was more.
It's like
Whose
a
house
party.
was it? Whose house was
So
it?
it was like
This
a
young
party.
man named Stephen who his mom was gone. And guess what? The neighbors that called the landlord of the apartment and told him that young teenagers been at this house from their mom had left them for over a week.
Right.
And they got guns in and out the house with guns. Had a shootout around there a week before my son got killed. And the landlord knew this and called the police and told the police. The police didn't come over there really to do nothing about it.
Do
So
you
now
have, is that secondhand or is there documentation on
it's
that?
documentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got all this on paper.
As I said, they botched they botched this investigation so bad.
And Eric not lying. Everything he's saying is the truth. Everything I'm saying is the truth. We got it in writing.
We
And
got
then this
reports.
what really got me. My wife had a stroke behind this shit because they kept lying to us,
Right.
telling us we doing this, we doing that. Eric said, man, they ain't doing nothing. So anyway, we ended up getting on the news. Eric set up an interview. So we got on 11 Live News. That's when they went to call. Oh, I want you to know I hadn't forgot about you. I got it all on tape. I can let you hear it. So if you're gonna do another segment on this, we can.
Right.
Eric got stuff we can let you hear so you can see that we're not fabricating anything. Everything we have, we can document it. We can back it up.
Right.
Everything we telling you, we can back it up.
And so
And then
what
we
did
got
the-
on the news again on Channel 2.
So what did the DA say? I'm curious about what the
So let
DA
me
said.
tell
when
you know, I don't live in Fulton County. I live in Cobb County. And before I would go out and say, you know, I supported Fonnie until this case. We sat in this DA's office with her entire staff, and she said they're going to do a full-on investigation. They're going to get another ME. They're going to look at. They're going to do everything. We go back months later. We're sitting in the lobby. Me and Mike sitting in the lobby. All of a sudden, these sheriffs come in, and they just sitting in there. I'm like,
Big gorillas.
man, why
you
they
know?
sheriffs sitting in here? So I'm looking at Mike. I said, something ain't right. They brought these sheriffs thinking we're gonna go off on them in the meeting. That's what they in there for. We go in the meeting, and they said there's nothing we can do about it because Union City botched the investigation. And we were like, well, what about the ME you hired? Now, this is really going to flip you out. They said that the ME told them that the way that he held the gun, right, that maybe he didn't know how to hold a gun and he just shot himself like that. So I'm
now
like,
it was a mistake.
bruh, now, I'm an investigator. You're an ex-police officer. So what do you think my next move is? I'm going to track down this ME. And that's what I did. Called the ME, tracked him down. He said, I would have never said anything like that.
Stop it.
Doing open records. Finally said, send him everything. I get everything. Inside the documents that they sent me was a report from the ME that they hired. In his report, he says that the gunshot wound was concerning and atypical for suicide. So in other words, he's saying there's something strange about it. They never mentioned that in the meeting. So then I called him up and put him on blast. You know what they said? Well, you know, he didn't do it. He looked at everything we sent him, but he wanted more money. I said, what do you mean he wanted more money? Well, he didn't justify him saying atypical. Well, shit, did you ask him?
Right.
You paid him.
Right.
Well, no, so we really didn't go off of it. So wait a minute. You hire an ME. He says it's atypical and concerning. You, the district attorney's office, you don't follow up on that and say justify it? Come on.
Let me add to this, Eric. Then he told Eric. Eric got it on recording too. He said, they told me just do enough for the money we paid you. He said he could have explained a little bit more in depth if that's what they wanted. But they only gave him X amount of dollars, right?
They gave him about $1,000.
$1,000, that's what it was.
Well, if you
They
looked
gave him
at
$1,000.
getting an independent,
Oh, he was independent.
no, I mean separate from them, that you actually hire one yourself to do it.
No, we hadn't hired
Uh-uh.
one.
That'd probably
Right,
get the
right.
body exhumed and do that would be a next step. And also,
Can't do that because we had him cremated.
Cremated.
What? Oh, okay.
But you see what I'm saying? But see, here's the thing. When you know this, when you put that badge on, you take an oath. when you're a detective, you take an oath. You should not make a decision based on the way an individual looks, the way the financial stability of an individual, their financial background, their status. Your job is to do the investigation, no matter what or who the person is. They didn't do that. They went in and treated it like a suicide because the person who called, in my mind, based on what I've seen in the investigation, was the shooter. You never listen to nobody who makes the phone call. You let, like you said, you treat it as a homicide. Let them, and they didn't do that. They didn't do it.
So when they came back, because this is insane, they came back with the weapon, stolen weapon, the murder weapon, and they still took all these people to the precinct and interviewed them together.
Was there ever an investigator on the scene?
Hey man, this is insane.
No, and I don't
They
know.
never called out an investigator
See,
to
and the
see?
reason I'm gonna say no is because when I did the open records and got all the body cam footage, this is how I know.
Watch this.
Get all the body cam footage, right? There are police officers on footage saying, "Oh, this ain't no suicide. This ain't no suicide."
They killed it.
And that's what they're saying. These are the police officers. And then you go to, I fast forward, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, they got them all in the same room. That's how I know. One of them is texting one of the other people, and you can see the girl looking up at him doing this, and then she starts writing.
Are you serious?
Dude, I can't.
What to say? The one who had the stolen gun?
Yeah.
Who picked my son up?
Yeah.
He's texted.
And she looked back at him, and she said,
Right.
Did you make the
text
invest?
her what to say. And she looked at her phone.
Oh, I pointed all that out.
And they didn't do any subpoenas for the
We got the
phone
body cam
phone
footage.
records.
Yeah, no, now they saying we can't. One call we made, or we can't find them. Then I mean, I'm telling you, they're giving them the runaround.
They're not looking for
They're
him.
not looking for
They
him.
haven't looked for
You
him.
know,
They haven't interrogated him. They
and
haven't
in,
did
in
anything.
my opinion, I think they just wait until Mr. Postal go away.
Yeah, just get tired and leave it
Wait
alone.
him out, yeah.
So,
You know.
But that won't happen.
so just so we can have a comparison here, describe, Mr. Echols, the similarities to Mr. Hutchins' son.
So Mr. Hutchins, he came to me through Mr. Postal.
Okay.
Those two connected. I'm gonna let them tell you how
My
they
son
connected.
and his daughter and his son who got killed, may rest in peace. My other son went to school with him.
Right.
Okay.
So he was telling Mr. Hutchins about me. I get a call from Henry. Same thing. Hey, this is what happened to me, yada, yada, yada. I said, hey, I'm going in my mind. Okay, let me meet with you. So I met with him. Looked at the documents. He has a video, right, where his daughter went to the crime scene after they cleared it. His son is like 6'2", right? On the video, the person who made the call, he says he was standing in the corner, he held the gun to his head and pulled the trigger. So the blood splatter should be where? At least 6 feet tall. You shoot yourself on the door. The blood spatter is about 2 feet on the door on the ground. So I'm looking at.
So he wasn't in a position where he
There
said
you
it
go.
was.
He wasn't standing. He had, based on the direction of the blood splatter and the dripping patterns, right? I'm looking at it, and I looked at the photos of the autopsy. He had a welt. He had a black eye. So it looks to me like there was a fight.
Did he have a black eye earlier when he left your
Not
house?
my son.
No.
It's Hank's son.
Hutchins.
Said no.
No, he didn't. So it looks like there was a fight, right? And then there was a shot. And then he had to been on his back because the blood splatter is down by the door. They calling this a suicide. Yeah, your look. Look at your look.
And why they call it the because again, the witnesses.
The witness is the one who called.
Yes.
Same scenario.
Same scenario.
And it's the same
Same
jurisdiction.
police
Give him a
department.
microphone. You got something
Same
to say?
jurisdiction.
That's
Same
basic.
jurisdiction. Same police
They got a microphone
department.
for it right here.
Union City.
Turn it on, Ben.
Union City.
Hold on.
You gonna get the
Hold on,
microphone.
get you the mic.
They're right there behind you, Hank.
Behind you, got one behind you.
This is the catch what I was talking over with Eric. For my son to have shoot himself, he would have had to flip the gun up like this. That gun was held to his head and it's sideways. This the front of the gun.
Right.
This the back of the gun. Who will turn the gun upside down and shoot themselves? And then he called the police at 5:09 in the morning. Oh, my friend just killed himself. The coroner's got there at 7:31, took my son's body.
Pull your mic up.
Took my son's body temperature at 8 o'clock. It lost 10 degrees. Not in 3 hours. That's impossible.
What was the time of the year he was shot?
Summertime.
Yeah.
July.
It was July.
Indoor,
The room.
Inside.
The
In
room
the
temperature
bedroom.
was 77 degrees. He was almost ambient. He was dead by 1 o'clock.
See, and here's the problem, and I'm glad we're having this forum and we're getting this out. You know, the police departments in some of these cases, because I've had multiple cases where this same thing has happened in other counties, and it's starting to be a trend where you got maybe overworked police, you got lazy police, you got police who's making justifications based on who someone is, and then as soon as they can write it off and say, oh, they say it's suicide, let's move on to the next case.
Well, and this is no way taking up or having a defense for him, but I say on the show a lot of times there's levels to this shit. And once you get outside of Metro Atlanta, you have, it's basically departments that are 500, 400, Atlanta, which is the big dog in the whole state, 3,000 or 2,000. And so you have a situation where these counties don't have a training. A lot of those deputies only get basic mandate. Then they have to wait until they're sent to an investigator school. And if the county doesn't budget for it, that county or that department has a small budget, they may be a detective and they may be working a homicide, but they've never actually
No training.
gone to the school and been trained.
Right.
And if at the time of day, the homicide guy, who's probably going to be the senior detective in that county or small department, he works day shift. So at night, they're supposed to either call him in, which they should, or they catalog it. So that's why a lot of counties will call a state trooper, and the state trooper acts in that capacity, or they'll call GBI.
Right.
But GBI has to be asked into a case.
There you go. They
Asked
have to
into
be
a case.
asked.
That's why I asked you earlier, had you spoke with the county sheriff.
Well, we haven't spoke with the sheriff.
We'll talk offline.
yeah,
We'll talk
We
offline.
went straight to the DA, but here's the thing. The DA, the chief of police, nobody has invited GBI in.
No, let's stop talking about this.
Okay.
We'll talk offline.
All right.
We'll be right back.